The 12th commitment is, I will expand America's involvement in the global economy and strengthen our reputation around the world. There are one or two ways to deal with the global economy. And just like in every one of these commitments that we make, it is a very, very big difference about how we approach our future. You can approach the global economy, the rise of China, the expansion of India, and so many other countries. Those are the two most traumatic, but at various scales it's happening in many parts of the world. You can approach it one of two ways, and maybe the one of two ways tells the difference between my philosophy and the approach of many of our opponents, particularly on the Democratic side. You can look at 20, 30 million people coming out of poverty in China, 20 or 30 million in India. You can put your head down and you can say, oh, I'm worried about that. I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to take jobs from us. People are going to outsource some more. So how do we deal with that? Let's see. Let's raise taxes so we drive even more jobs to them. Let's put on tariffs and have protectionism. So we perpetuate our inefficiencies and our mistakes. And it becomes a very, very dangerous kind of spiral. You get worried about competition from overseas. You crack down here in the United States. You have more regulations. You have more taxes. You have more tariffs. Our balance of trade deficit gets worse, and you have to do it some more. Here's how to approach it. First thought, when I said 20 or 30 million people coming out of poverty in China every year, 20 or 30 million in India, roughly. First thought that comes to my mind is wonderful. Isn't that wonderful for the future of America and the future of humanity? And then the second thought that comes to my mind is, what can we sell them? Look at all these new customers. Look at all these new customers with money. They can buy stuff. We can buy stuff from them and save money. Great. But what is the value added that we have? What is it that we can sell to them? Easy to find. They're going from wherever they are now to where we are. We're there already. We're the model. No matter how much the anger at America, the frustration at America, do not mistake the following fact. I have been, I think, on about 94 foreign trips in the last 5 years or so. I've been to 34 or 35 different countries. Some very happy with the United States, some presently annoyed with the United States. Every single one of them sees us as the model for them in terms of economic growth and future. To go from where they are to where we are, they need what we have. They need our products. They need our expertise. They need our abilities. Just one example, going back to an earlier point, is energy independence. If we were ahead in all of these areas, nuclear power, if we were ahead in biodiesel and ethanol, if we were ahead in what to do about solar and wind power, if we were ahead in carbon sequestration, if we were ahead in new methods of utilizing oil, if we were ahead in that, we can sell that to them because they need energy independence even more than we do. So that's the way we have to look at it. What is it that's unique about this country? Where do we have the value-added propositions that they have to move to? It can be in healthcare. They sure need a tremendous development of their healthcare system. We know how to do it. It could be in energy independence. It could be in computer technology. It could be in management. We are the envy of the world in terms of productive businesses. We have productive businesses because we have management techniques and organizational abilities that we've refined over a long period of time. We can sell that to them. This is a great opportunity for us. If we do, as I say here, embrace the global economy, look at it positively, look at it with a sense of optimism, not with the kind of pessimism that the Democrats bring to it. And second, the way you repair the reputation of the United States is not changing our principles. It's not going back to being a country in denial like we were in the 1990s. It's not going back to a country that allowed Europe over and over again to release terrorists. They released the people who killed the Israeli athletes at the Munich Olympics. Germany did that. They released the people who killed Leon Klinghoffer. The Italians did that. They were releasing terrorists over and over again in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We don't go back to placating them and saying we're going to agree with you just because we want to be popular and put ourselves in jeopardy. What we do is we stand up for our principles and what we believe in. And we say to the people of the world, maybe with some of you we have a somewhat different version about how to deal with terrorism. But please understand what it's like to be a country that's been attacked the way we have. Please understand that what it's like to be a country in which we are constantly discovering parts of people planning to attack us again. And maybe we have a different approach because of our background and our experience. But we agree on most other things. We agree on freedom and democracy. We agree on a free economy. We agree, most of us do, with the rights of women. We agree that women have a place in our society, and that place is not to be stoned. That place is not allowed to be part of government, not allowed to have an equal place in society. You don't really want to go back to that. You don't really want to take this big step back to the Middle Ages, do you? And the reality is, don't we have a lot more to agree about than disagree about? You can see it happening in Europe right now, with Putin putting so much pressure on Europe, acting in some cases in a way in which they believe he's using energy or power extortion. You can see the countries of Europe coming back to us with more of a sense of reality. And that's what we have to rely on, who we are and what we are, and be proud of it. We are the greatest country on earth. Even when we think about immigration, when we think about the immigration problem and securing our borders and all these other things we have to do, you got to get some insight out of the fact that it's a problem, but it's a problem because we are the most popular country on earth. We're the country everybody wants to come to. They're not rushing into these other countries the way they're rushing into the United States. So you've got something great going for you. But it doesn't mean we should be arrogant with the rest of the world. It doesn't mean we know better than the rest of the world. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't take their ideas and their advice. But there are going to be times where we should not be embarrassed to stand up for what we think is essentially American. After all, nobody's ever done it better than Americans. We should have confidence in ourselves. And the way I would change the outlook of the State Department is, here's what I think the main purpose of the State Department is. The main purpose of the State Department is to advocate the interests of the United States of America. And I will measure the State Department that way. The reason we have ambassadors in these countries is not just to explain these countries to us. The reason we have ambassadors there is to explain America to them. When America is attacked on television in foreign countries, attacks that I have seen all too often over the last 5 years in the many travels I've done, the American ambassador should be on in the next hour or two explaining that it's not true, explaining that we don't kill children in the United States, explaining that you do not and should not at any time allow the United States to be unfairly attacked without responding to it and explaining it and giving the other aspect of it, and restoring the whole idea of cultural exchanges. I believe very strongly in cultural exchanges. I think the Cold War was won for a variety of reasons. Reagan and Thatcher and Pope John and Gorbachev being an important part of it. Commercial exchange, but also cultural exchanges. You and I have to learn more about the Middle East. We have to learn more about their culture. They have to learn more about ours. There are plenty of them that want to engage us. But this is a very, very important part of what we're going to do.